this episode of Extraordinary Women TV, the show wouldn't be complete without my Good to Know Minute, where you will learn the top success tips and tools from today's most extraordinary women. We're here at the Corkin Gallery, the Distillery District in Toronto, and I'm speaking with Jane Corkin herself. Hi, Jane.
Nice to see you, Shannon.
Now, you have such a very strong background in the arts here in Toronto and in Canada and internationally. Now, you have a beautiful gallery. What sparked you to, first of all, want to become such a solid, strong member of the art scene?
Well, I love art. I've always loved art, and to be able to actually allow an artist to live by their work has driven me for a very long time. So the gallery really is about the artists that we represent. We represent 12 artists, international artists, some from Toronto, some from across Canada, the U.S., from Cuba, from Lima, Peru, from Europe, from Asia. So we have a broad-based international business, and our goal is to bring our artists and our clients together. Our goal is to really get people inspired to look at art in an interesting way.
And what makes Corkin Gallery so unique?
The gallery is about the artists. So the artists, it's their vision. It would be a very sad world without artists. I think it's the single most important part of any culture is the way the artists and the work that they do. What separates us, I think, is that we were able to go internationally, both in terms of our client base and our artist base from a very early time.
You started your career working in the gallery with David Mervish, and then you started your own gallery in 1979. What was going on in your life and in Canada in the arts world at that time?
It seems like it was yesterday, I'm sure, but it's been a number of years. It takes 10,000 hours to become an expert and a lifetime to be successful, and it goes very fast. I mean, you're working, and all of a sudden you go from being a renegade, as we were, showing photographs very early on, to being establishment. And it seems as if there's almost nothing in between.
Now, when you first opened your own gallery, take us through what was going on in your life and what was going on in the art scene at that time. That was 1979.
Well, it's true. You know, early on, there were not very many people interested in photography as an art form. So to be part of a small group of people that inspired other people to look at photographs and to get photography to be part of the canon of art history was a role that I was really very, very lucky to be able to participate in and watch occur through the 70s, through the 80s, and of course through the 90s.
And your first exhibition had a number of notable photographers, including Mapplethorpe.
Yes, Robert Mapplethorpe was here for a very wonderful show he did when he signed the books for Lisa Lyon, Lady Lisa. She was the first woman bodybuilder. Also, we had here in the gallery Richard Avedon and Irving Penn, Herb Ritz, Harry Callahan. Really, the history of so many of the living legends, Bernice Abbott, many of the great photographers, we really grew up with them. Andre Kertész came every year for many, many years until his death. So the gallery was very rich with people who early on were not very known. They became living legends. And now, of course, in the history show we have up now, they are legends.
Now, I note that there are some photographs of you doing cartwheels. Those are very special photos. Tell us about those photos.
That was a kind of a funny group of pictures because Andre Kertész was invited to the opening of my gallery, first gallery, and he came 2 days early without telling me. And when I showed up, the gallery hadn't been hung yet, and he came to the gallery and made the young woman I was working with not tell him that he was there and he was hiding. And I would do cartwheels to release steam, and he caught me doing one to release steam. And after that, he got me to act and say, "Can you do a few more?" And About a month later, after he got home, he sent me a book of some wonderful photographs he had taken of me. A very special moment, very personal moments. But you know, he came many times, and over the course of the times visiting us here in Toronto, he would do walks with photographers who were living in Toronto at the time, who were inspired by his work, and he made many pictures of Toronto, which are now part of art history and part of Andre Cortege's output as an artist.
Now, we are standing, I note that we are standing in a gallery that is dedicated to women artists.
We're standing here in the west wing of the gallery. We have 6 different exhibition galleries, and we have hung women artists so that you can see some of the great women that we work with. We have Françoise Sullivan, who's from Montreal, one of the great artists who has worked for many decades. Barbara Astman, who's from Toronto and teaches at Ontario College of Art and Design. Sharon Switzer, a video artist who started TUFF, the Toronto Underground Film Festival. She makes text-based videos. We have also Grit Schredfiger from Germany. We will have a show of hers coming up in 2015. We have Gina Rorai, whom we're very excited to open our first one-person show with Gina, which will be this year. So this has been a really exciting season for us. We continue to show the work of Carol Marino, who is also here with us. One of the things I'm particularly excited about is Barbara Assman will be exhibiting in New York at the Deutsche Bank collection, and as well Sandra Mazzeros, who does wonderful large-scale charcoal drawings, will be in that show as well. This is a New York-based show, so it's very exciting for the artists to be able to show outside their own jurisdictions.
And I note that a number of pieces that have been from your collection are hanging in establishments and houses all over the world. Is that right?
Well, thank you. I'm glad they're getting seen. We're really happy that we've been able to have collectors from all over the world to get excited about some of the art that we show, and that the art joins very major collections. And more we see our artists joining major collections, and as a result, more and more people look at them.
Now, I also, what's very impressive about you is, you are an advocate for artists here in Canada. You were the founding director of the Association of International Photographer Art Dealers, is that correct?
Yes.
Based in New York?
Yes, that's right. Well, you know, it's when you have a group of people who have a similar mission, it makes it a lot easier to continue. I think that the most important thing is commitment. It's really important to know that every day isn't going to be a good day. There's good days and there's bad days, and no matter how glamorous your job is. I mean, being an art dealer may seem like a glamorous job, like an actress seems like a glamorous job, but I think all jobs have one thing in common, whether you're an actress or a florist or an art dealer or a banker, that you need enormous commitment, and you have to go in every single day, and you have to work through the tedium every single day, and you have to know that you always have to show up. And I think that's the hardest thing for people to do, is to work through the bad moments.
And do you have a favorite female artist here in the gallery? I know it's a difficult question.
I always have a favorite artist, but the favorite artist, I always have a favorite artist, but the favorite artist changes every hour or every day. And it's interesting because when I chose the exhibition that's up, if I had chosen on a different day, it would have a slightly different weight. So every time you choose a show, it only is a show about the particular moment in time that you choose it. You know, my visual information is very rich, and I choose from a great variety of sources. So I don't really have one favorite that stays one favorite all the time. In my own home, I switch work all the time. I move things from one room to another. I add a new piece, and that changes how it sits next to another piece.
Now, Jane, I know that you are involved in a number of charities. It's something that's near and dear to your heart, giving back. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing these days.
Well, the charity work has always been really important. We've done some work for Princess Margaret Hospital and Mount Sinai Hospital. We also do work with Casey House. My biggest mentor died of AIDS, and that's an important charity for all of us in the art world. We're doing one this fall, a very important one to us, Camp Winston, which is raising money for children who live with neurological disorders, and I'm very pleased to be working with them this fall.
And now, the Good to Know Minute.
And if you had one piece of advice for any young girl who would like to specifically become a photographer and show her work and maybe even become a gallery owner of photography, what would you say to her today?
I would say keep on going, have a great commitment, never, never, never give up, no matter how many bad days you have. Keep weathering the storm. And as Paul McCartney once said to me, don't forget to have fun.
Don't forget to have fun. Jane, if you just tell us a little bit about what makes this building so unique. I mean, it's here at the Distillery District. It's quite a unique area in Toronto, but this building is also very unique.
We were very lucky to have this building. It has 23-foot ceilings, which is pretty wonderful. And as you can see, these great skylights that just washes the whole gallery in light. But this was a tank house when it was a distillery, and I was very, very lucky to have architects Bridget Shim and Howard Sutcliffe to redesign from the old building into a contemporary art gallery. And what they gave us is really a beautiful gallery that has so many different exhibition spaces, and it really feels like a cathedral for art. They did a beautiful job. So my artists feel very lucky to be here, as I do.
So you have this. I mean, being 35 years in business is it's a considerable amount of time. You've managed to keep this going through some really tough economic times. How has that played into sort of any challenges that you may have experienced?
Really, Shannon, that is the biggest challenge, is to keep the business going, because there have been certainly many economic downturns, and if no one purchases the art, there is no gallery. And that really has been the biggest challenge. One thing that you learn as an art dealer, as many jobs that have a creativity element part of it, is that you really need two heads. You need a head that allows you to create the big picture, to create the dreams, to create the roles and where the gallery and where the business is going. And then you need to have the kind of daily task mentality to do the things that are required to get there. Most people usually have one side or other, but when you're in this type of business, you really need to have both parts of that, the big picture and the daily tasks. And I think it's those daily tasks that's easy to forget to do. I mean, you can sit and dream, but if you don't keep at it, the job doesn't get done.
Well, thank you, Jane, for showing us and telling us more about your beautiful gallery, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you very much, Shannon. It's been a pleasure.
If you would like to be a guest on Extraordinary Women TV, visit our website at extraordinarywomentv.com. I'd love to hear from you. Follow me on Twitter at Shannon_Skinner or on Facebook at Extraordinary Women TV. I'm Shannon Skinner. Join us next time for another episode of Extraordinary Women TV.